Alright, welcome back to Ranma Half Anime Review, episode number 45. We're reviewing the 17th episode of the 2024 series, It's Fast or It's Free. Yeah, this one's interesting to say the least, because for some weird reason, despite the fact that the anime at this point in time have been adapted to chapters in order, and not for some weird reason, do not know why in the world the anime did this for. They skipped the next two story arcs for some reason. Not sure why, but they did. And they went straight to a completely different arc, which is 4 chapters. And here's something interesting though. They covered all 4 chapters in the same episode. By the way, this episode covered chapters 59 to 62. And this was the martial arts takeout arc. Which is interesting. The fact that this was adapted for the anime. Yeah, I'm like, why in the world would they skip over the previous arc? The previous 2? I am guessing probably the reason why they skipped over martial arts tea ceremony arc, yeah, why that one in Breaking Point, probably because basically Shampoo was, well, barely in these 2 arcs. And my guess is, this is just a theory I have, of why in the world these 8 chapters were skipped over, because of course maybe they want to save them for later. I mean, the Breaking Point arc is only 5 chapters, and the following arc is 3. Now, in case you're curious though, were these 2 arcs adapted for the original anime? They were. The Breaking Point arc was adapted for 2 episodes, Ranma Reigns on Mount Terror, and Breaking Point, Ryoga's Great Revenge. And as for the martial arts tea ceremony arc, oh, by the way, the episode numbers for those ones are 28 and 30. Yes, 28 and 30 they adapt this arc. The martial arts tea ceremony was adapted for the 2 episodes known as The Great Art of Martial Tea Ceremony and The Missing Matriarch of Martial Arts Tea. Yes. And this first one was covered in episode 93 of the original series. Yes, 93. And then the follow-up of this one, The Missing Matriarch of Martial Arts Tea, was adapted for episode 124. You're thinking, wait a minute, is this anime doing the same thing? Not sure. Well, they did pretty much adapt this whole arc in one episode, just like the original one was. Yes, except the original was covered in episode 22. Yep, 22. And you're like, what? Really? Yeah, 22. And this is only episode 17 of the series. Now, why in the world they decided to do this for, I have no idea. So the episode opens up with Akane and Ranma in girl form being carried by Gemma, Ranma's father in panda form, and of course, and this is just a dream by Kuno, who can't make a difference between Akane and, well, he referred to it as Big Digger, aka Female Ranma. And apparently this was actually, from what I just read, apparently this particular dream sequence was actually adapted in the original anime as a filler episode. Yep. For some weird reason that they actually put this dream sequence in the other episode. Another episode completely related to this one. Here, it's basically here for some weird reason. Not sure why, but it is. Yeah, Kuno's here, and then we have like Kuno racing to Akane's house. I think he's going to propose to her, despite the fact she's already engaged to Ranma. Ranma stomps on his head, and then Gemma Rama's father said, well, you haven't completed your training, and they continue basically to beat the crap out of each other, and then Rama was like, oh, you turn around, oh, looks big girl. At one point, he sees her without her shirt on, and doesn't stare at the chest per se, nothing. And the thing with the girls in this series, whenever you see them topless, you never see the nipples. Despite the fact the creator of the series is in fact a woman, you probably would think basically that she would include that, but no, she did not. And if you're curious though, did it include this in Inuyasha, the series that she did right after this one? Yeah, she actually included that. Yeah, in that series you have full-blown nudity in that show. Here it's nudity, but not full nudity per se. For one thing, we don't see female rear ends in the show. So, and then of course is kicked away, and then we have this magical race that pop out of nowhere. This takeout thing where you have to basically deliver to various houses, and Akane, Shampoo, and Ranma in girl form are participating in this race. And you can do whatever you want. Just basically you go to your house on time. And apparently the winning house is randomly chosen. And the winning house, the finish line, is Kudo's house for some weird reason. Yeah, this actually was a carryover from the original series. Because apparently in the manga, it was a random finish line. It wasn't finishing someone's house. So, the whole thing, a lot of this is Shampoo really wants to go on a date with Ranma for some reason. A lot of chasing, a kind of finding Shampoo, just like how she did in in like 2 episodes ago. Actually, it was like just an episode 2 ago. Actually, just the last episode that she just did this again, having these two fight over Ranma, and eventually Ranma kind of wins, but doesn't eat the food right away, and of course Ranma trying to eat the food, but then of course basically goes back to guy form, ends up in a hot tub. At one point you have Shampoo being sprayed with water, where Shampoo can turn into a cat, so he can basically just, because Akai is getting annoyed with him, with Ranma, and like the guy kicked away, you gotta deliver him food. For reasons he has to get the food, and then he eats it. Well, the thing is, like, Ranma tries to feed him it, he hates it, but then when Ranma goes to girl form, he eats it and says, oh, this is delicious, so I think it's very soggy. And that's the episode. You're probably like, why the heck would they adapt this one for the next episode? My guess is they probably really want to use Shampoo so badly. Yes, I'm thinking it's Shampoo's fault, the reason why the previous 2 arcs were skipped over. And they probably didn't want to go at least an episode without Shampoo, given how popular she is. I'm not going to blame Netflix for this. No, it's not their fault for this. I blame the studio for this. And that studio is MAPPA. So I'm pointing the blame at them for this, of why they skipped over 2 arcs for this arc for some reason. It's not a terrible episode. The anime does a really good job adapting this stuff, but why would you put this after you had the previous one? Yeah, my guess is they probably saw the previous 2 arcs. Yeah, we're going to skip those and come back to those later. Who knows? But they adapted 4 more chapters, which means we're 54 chapters adapted out of 407, which means there's exactly, well, 50 brought it down to 357. Take away 4. We have 353 chapters left to go for the whole series to be adapted for this series. Yes, at least basically we're not doing filler, and at least we're not waiting to 22 to do this one like in the original one. Yeah, but not much else to say of this episode. Okay, so that's pretty much a particular video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next up we have is Spy X Family. Okay, thanks, people. Bye.